Well, hello and welcome. Today we're at Virginia State University's Randolph Farm. We're in the urban ag demonstration area, and we're going to be talking about soil testing for your lawn or maybe for your garden area. Now, testing the soil is an important thing that you would do about every 3 years, because one of the things, you don't want to over-apply fertilizer or under-apply fertilizer. You kind of want to get that just right. And one of the ways you can do that is testing your soil. So there are a number of labs that do this kind of testing, and you can do that. But for many of you, the easiest way to go about this is to work with your local county extension office and talk to the extension agent there or a master gardener, and they can give you some soil test boxes and a form. Look a lot like this right here. This is going to be a form that you're going to fill out with your soil test and send in. It'll ask for your name and your address. It'll ask what you've applied previously, and also it'll ask what you're going to grow, whether this might be turf grass or maybe some vegetable like tomatoes or squash or eggplant. And so once you fill this out, you'll put this box together. It's going to look a little like this, just a small soil sample box. You're going to need a bucket like this, a clean bucket, something that's been washed out and is clean, and a shovel. And then we're just going to, I'm going to take an example right here of this raised bed, and we're going to fill this full of meat soil here. You're going to sample down about 6 or 8 inches. You want the top layer off, and just if you're sampling in the lawn, you'd also take the grass and the roots off, and you'd get an adequate sample. And we're going to put it, for our example here, we're going to put it right in here and fill it up. Normally, if you were sampling a much larger area, you would put all your samples into a bucket, mix them up, and then put them in this box. So then you'll close this up. Pretty simple situation here. Close this up, and the easiest thing to do is just put this in a padded envelope, put your form in there that you've told all your information on, and then just mail it to the Virginia Tech Soil Lab, and they'll analyze it, and you'll get results in a few weeks. So let's think about what we're going to do with those results next. So now you've got your soil test back, and you've got a lot of numbers there, a lot of information that tells you different things about your soil, but you're really interested in what you can do about that, how you can affect a change and grow your grass or your vegetables the best way you can. Usually on this soil test report that you get, at the bottom there's going to be some recommendations, and those are going to be based on what you've told the lab that you're going to grow and maybe what amendments you've made in the past. So these are very important recommendations. And they'll say something like, if you've got grass, they might say something like you want a pound of fertilizer per 1,000 square feet to be applied. And that's kind of a little difficult to think about, especially if you've never measured your lawn before. So one of the first things you need to do, one of the most important things you need to do is measure your lawn. And that would be maybe even pace off or use a measuring tape or a measuring wheel and figure out the length and the width of the section that where you're going to be applying fertilizer, and multiply that together, and then you get your square footage. And so once you have your square footage, you also have your recommendation of how much fertilizer to go ahead and put in that area. You've got to think about how you're going to apply it. And rotary spreaders, like the ones you see here, this one that you can push along, and even this one that's kind of green that you hold up like this, can be utilized for a much smaller area and a much larger area with this push one. And they're very simple to operate. You just put your fertilizer in the hopper. There are some openings in that hopper that are adjusted by usually a lever of some type or a dial, and it just adjusts the opening, how wide the openings are. And then there's a wheel on the bottom that, as you push along this spreader, it will just throw out the fertilizer. So one of the things that you'll look at, if you think about some of the companies that sell fertilizer and grass seed and things like that, they also sell spreaders, and they make it easy now that they give you adjustments that are right on the fertilizer bag based on their spreaders. But there's lots of ways to do it. You can look at the opening, and you can calibrate this a little bit by dumping some fertilizer in here, seeing how much is left after you've gone over a certain area, and then you'll be able to know exactly how much you're putting out. Well, all this hopefully doesn't sound too complicated, but if you need help with this, you can go to your county extension office and talk to a master gardener or the ag agent there, and they'll give you a hand. From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins. We'll see you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu. untitled.edu.